Hey, Instagram and on YouTube. Hello, hello. Come on in. It's Dr. Dion Napier with Amplify Vocal Studio. If you are new to my channel, welcome. I am an 11-year university trained classical singer turned commercial style voice coach, specifically to opera singers and bel canto voice teachers. And I help you guys learn how to perform commercial style music without sounding like you are on an opera stage. So if that's you, come on in. Today, I'm going to answer some questions about how to get a modern sound in your classically trained voice. And these are questions that opera singers and voice teachers have asked me. And so I'm going to just present these questions publicly because I think it might be able to help some of you guys as well. So welcome if you are a classical singer, a professional level opera singer, or a bel canto voice teacher. This session or this Q&A is specifically going to be for you. If you are a commercial style singer, you're welcome to stay on here and listen, but just know that my audience is specifically professional opera singers and voice teachers, okay? So what's up? I see you guys are here with me live. I'm so glad on Instagram, on YouTube. Hello. Let's jump on in. So I got 10 questions, and y'all can drop you all's questions as well, but I'm going to just kick it off with these. So first question is, in your 3-step mixed voice process, is it the same for singing in other languages? Okay, so if you have my resource guides, I talk about the 3 steps to mixed voice coming from classical background. So the first step is to isolate that pharyngeal resonance. That's that crybaby primal sound, right? The second step is to normalize that sound to get it more speech-like. And then the third step is just to add in the lyrics, and then you're at that speech level balanced mix. So this person was asking, is that process the same if you're singing in non-English or any non-English languages, right? And so the idea of it is, yes, the point of that 5-step process is to get your voice from a head dominant classical operatic sound to a speech level balanced mix, okay? And so we're dealing with resonance. So regardless of what language you're singing in, those principles and applications are the same. Now, yes, you might have to modify vowels some, and this is in English as well. It's whatever you're singing, because of course, when you start singing your lyrics, they have different vowels, and you may have to modify to find that correct resonating pocket. But for the most part, it's the same. So let me demonstrate for you. So if I'm going to sing, I'm going to do ma, 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 ma. So this is step 2 where we're normalized. We came out of that man, man, man. So then we would normalize and do ma, 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 and then put it into lyrics. So ma, 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 how are you? That's in English. So let's do it in Spanish. Ma, 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 ¿cómo estás? It feels the same in my mouth. It feels the same. I don't know if y'all's ears can discern or detect that, but the placement of that speech level quality is the same, even though one was in English and one was in Spanish and different vowels. So, how are you? That's more of a back vowel, close you in Spanish. ¿Cómo estás? More of a neutral vowel, but the placement feels the same, like it's speech level, okay? So my answer to that would be yes, but you just have to be sensitive to how much you need to modify your vowels to keep it at speech level, okay? That is the first question. So another question that I was asked, this person said, mainly in chest, should we make it whiny transitioning into mix and upper mix or high notes? Okay, so I think this person is asking, do we add the whiny pharyngeal resonance only in the mix and as we ascend up into the head voice? And the answer to that is no. You essentially want to have some of that whiny pharyngeal resonance also in the lower end of your voice. You want to learn how to blend that pharyngeal into the chest as well as into the head so that you can get a balanced mixed quality. Because if you keep the chest voice chest dominant and you don't add some of that pharyngeal, when you hit that bridge at A, B flat B especially, you are going to hit a ceiling. You're not going to be able to transition. So you have to learn to add some of that whiny pharyngeal resonance in the low end of the voice, definitely in the messy middle, what I call, and then also in the upper extension in the head voice tones. Okay. Another question, explain the breathing for mixed voice. Yeah. So the breathing for mixed voice is pretty much the same. I would say for a balanced speech level mix, it's the same as your classical apoyo, right? It's this gentle air compression leaning on the air. So if you wanted to do slides, ha, wah, whoa, right? At the breath level, that's the same thing as like singing opera. It's not that much different. Now, it's not exactly the same, but at the breath level, my body doesn't feel much different. Okay. Now, when you are doing more of a belty sound, not a balanced speech level mix, but more of a belty high air pressure sound, it's definitely gonna feel like that opera production. Why? Because when we're singing classical, we're singing unamplified. It takes much more air pressure. You're filling up, you're projecting over orchestra, right? So when I'm doing a belt, it's pretty much the same thing, even though I am amplified, but at the breath level, it's this high air pressure kind of sound, right? So it's not much different. So my answer to that is your breathing is a lot like when you're singing classical, especially when you're belting. When you're doing more of a balanced mix or a lighter mix, you can actually ease up off of the air pressure some, right? Because when we're singing contemporary music, it is much more everyday speech like. So the breathing that accompanies that is really pedestrian. You know, you don't have to do a lot of the, high intensity stuff. It's just every day. But when you're belting, it definitely is going to feel like classical. Okay. I hope that makes sense. What's up, y'all? Give me some hearts or give me something if this is making sense to you all, or if you all have questions. Let me know if this is making sense. I'm just sharing questions that I've gotten from classical singers that are wanting to transition into singing contemporary music. So here's another question. What do you recommend to strengthen vocal cord muscles? Okay. What I recommend to strengthen your vocal cord muscles, y'all, is vocal fry. That's what I recommend. Okay. Vocal fry is just the inner edges of your vocal cords coming together on that thin inner layer. And that's going to set you up to be able to sing with much projection and power without tiring out your voice and using a lot of air pressure and a lot of hollering. I'm just going to be honest. Okay. So as we're crossing over from singing opera, exclusively opera, into singing commercial styles, a lot of times the vocal cord muscles are weak. It's not that you're not phonating. You're definitely phonating because you're singing classical, but there is a refined cord closure that accompanies singing contemporary styles that opera singers usually have to work into their voice because we don't sing like that in opera, right? And so you work that in through things like vocal fry. Whoa. Now that's a vocal fry slide. You can do vocal fry arpeggios. Whoa, 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 whoa. You can do a 5-tone scale. Any of that is fantastic for strengthening the vocal cord muscles themselves. Okay, so that is my number one go-to for strengthening vocal cord muscles. I thought I saw a question over here, maybe not. Welcome to you guys who are joining. Okay, so that's what I would recommend to strengthen the vocal cord muscles. And not only that, vocal fry you want to have as a style tool that you can use in commercial singing. People use vocal fry all over the place in commercial styles, right? So you want to be able to know how to sing that and access that for your styling when you get to that point. Okay, another question. Are these techniques applicable to kids and youth voice students? And this person asked for tips for breaking the mental. Well, let me just start here. Okay. Are these techniques applicable for kids and youth voice students? Yes. My way of teaching mix and belt, it is applicable for youth and young people because it's really pulling on primal sounds that y'all have been making since you were kids anyway, but you've gotten disassociated from it in classical because classical does not really use those sounds. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's perfect to use with child singers as well as youth because they are not so far removed from those primal human pre-programmed sounds. So you just take what they're already doing naturally and just launch them from there. So that's my answer to that. Somebody says, thanks for the knowledge. You're welcome. That's my answer to that. Now, the next question was, can you share tips for breaking the mental barrier for students experimenting with falsetto mix? There's a huge hurdle when working with junior high and high school guys. Okay, so voice teachers, and I hear this a lot. Voice teachers, if y'all have these young men, junior high, high school, and they struggling, with their voice change and they're wanting to do falsetto, whatever, and they're struggling, my recommendation is to have them to imitate and play. I wouldn't even put them in the context of a voice lesson. Do you know what I'm saying? I would be like, no, we just gonna go back to sound making. I would have them to imitate. I would have them to act like they see a newborn baby or something. Say they got a family member, there's a new baby in the family. Ladies may do this more so, but still, just have your guys to play around. What would you do if you see a new baby? You're gonna say, oh my God, look at the baby. Oh my God, he's so precious. Oh my God, right? That's the falsetto coordination. So my recommendation is associate that falsetto quality with everyday sounds that they make already. And that's going to help to break that barrier, right? As they're trying to access these qualities. What else did I write? Yeah, so basically you're just reshaping their perspective, right? You're reshaping the perspective that singing and speaking are totally far apart. Like, no, singing and speaking are really siblings. Like, they're not much different at all. Do you know what I'm saying? Of course, when we sing, a lot of times we use higher intensities, higher range. I know that. But what I'm saying is that we should be singing at the level that we speak. Like, that's the easiest way to teach singing. That's what I teach, and I find it very impactful, and it works. It's results driven, right? Because people are speaking every day. And so if you can just turn their mind to not view singing as so separate and distant from speaking, then typically you can get them to the result that they are wanting. Hello from Brazil. Welcome. Okay. So that's how I would answer that for teachers that are dealing with young male singers. The next question, does singing in chest voice right under your passaggio feel exhausting? Ooh, it can feel exhausting, especially when the vocal cord muscles are not strengthened in that area. And for most classical singers, opera singers, especially females, those notes right up under that first bridge. Sorry, that ain't the sound I want. I guess it really don't matter. Hold on a second. There we go. So these pitches, so our first bridge, typically right here, A, B flat, B, 4 for ladies. So the notes right up under there, like F sharp, G, G sharp, A, all of that stuff can feel really weak. So what you have to do is strengthen the vocal cord muscles down there, okay, so that you can do it. So yeah, if your cord muscles are weak down there, it can feel exhausting, because typically, if you have not learned how to incorporate pharyngeal resonance into your sound, what you're doing is pulling that chest voice up really, really high, and that's not sustainable. You can't sing long term like that without exhaustion, fatigue, and if you do it for a long period of time and it becomes a habit, it can result in vocal injury, right? So a lot of the fatigue is coming because you only know how to do thick vocal cord coordinations down there, and you haven't learned how to thin those cords out using that pharyngeal resonance, right? To still get a power pack sound, but to blend the resonances differently, allowing some of that pharyngeal to come into the blend and taking some of the pressure off the folds, okay? So the answer to that, yes, it can feel exhausting, but don't feel like it can't be fixed. You just need to strengthen the muscles. It's just a sign that the muscles are weak, okay? All right, next question. And y'all can put questions down here too if you have them as I'm reading these. I have 4 more, and then I'm going to tell you about my Basics of Mix and Belt training program. If you guys are looking for a coach or looking for a guide to help you transition from exclusively singing opera arias and art songs into singing contemporary styles, into singing the stuff that they singing on the, radio, pop music, all of that. If you want to learn how to do that, I have an opportunity where you can come in and I can help you to transition. So the next question, should my stomach expand on step 2 of your belting process? Okay, so if you have my guide, My 3 steps to belt. 3 easy steps to belt. The first step is to establish your speech level chest voice. That's the first step. The second step is to engage with gentle air compression. Okay. And then step 3 is to neutral, keep your larynx neutral. So this person is asking, should my stomach expand on step 2, which is the gentle air compression? And the answer is yes. Again, this is the same thing, classical singers, as apoggio. So this would be taking a fuller breath because we're about to do belting coordinations. Belting is high air pressure singing, a lot like opera. It's the same. You got to catch this revelation, okay? So yes, you should fill up with air. That diaphragm is lowering, the rib cage is expanding because you're about to sing a high air pressure sound in a chest dominant coordination. So, hey, hey, my rib cage is open. Hey, hey, right? That's high air pressure singing, y'all. That's a lot like classical. So yes, you got to get a fuller breath when you're doing that, but it is still gentle. You're not slamming on the gas pedal when you belt, trying to make it sound powerful and make it sound loud. That's one of the biggest mistakes that singers make. Belting is already naturally going to be loud, okay, because of what's happening in the sound spectrum that you can't control. It's already set by God, honey. So you don't have to try to make it louder. Just keep it cool, keep it gentle as you're doing that belt. But to answer this person's question, yes, the belly is going to expand, the rib cage is going to expand as you're doing belting coordinations, okay? Next question. When warming up students, is there an optimal order, okay, for warm up? So this person is asking, should I access head mix, then introduce balance mix, then chest mix? This is a really good question. And if you come from a classical background, that's going to be easier. Usually, why is it going to be easier to start with the head voice coordinations and work it down? Because as classical singers, you have a well-developed head voice already because you've been singing head dominant. Do you know what I'm saying? So yes, you can start from that head voice and just add some of the pharyngeal so it doesn't sound classical. Again, we're not singing in pure head voice. We're singing in a head mix. So you have to have some pharyngeal up there in that head voice resonance as well. And then come down to that balanced middle mix and then the chest mix. Absolutely. That's a fantastic strategy when warming up yourself or your students, if your students are come from a classical background. Now, if your students are younger and they ain't coming from no classical background, they're still singing the pop music of the day and all of that. A lot of times those students are chest dominant singers, again, because they sing in everyday music. They're chest dominant singers, and sometimes they will already have a mix that's decent. So usually that head voice in a non-classical singer is weak. So in that case, I would say don't start from the head down and go up. You want to start strengthening the head voice first. I wouldn't start warming them up from a head voice because if the chords aren't coming together, the phonation ain't gonna be there. So it ain't gonna be no warming up, right? So the first thing, we got to establish the head voice tones first, right? And then you can just see what from there. But if the student already has a head voice that's well hooked up, like coming from opera, that's a perfect strategy to start them from the top and incorporate the mix from there. That's a strategy I use. It gives you confidence to know that you can make these modern sounds and you're starting from a place that's really, really strong, built up, which is that head voice for classical singers. And then we work it down. Okay. All right, let's keep going. So 2 more questions. The next question, many singers in musical theater keep the palate very high, but sing more chiaro with not so low larynx as classical. Is this a contemporary style? Okay. So to this question, I would say it could be a contemporary sounding sound coordination. It could be anything that is not pure head voice. I say pure because nothing is really pure. You've got other resonances that are mixed in. But when I say pure head voice, I'm more so talking about head dominant classical. Any coordination that is not a pure head voice or a head dominant classical can potentially sound like a modern sound. Do you know what I'm saying? So, of course, now I don't know. This person said musical theater. I don't know if they're talking about more legit musical theater or more modern. I don't know where the palette is raised like that, but I could definitely see that in legit musical theater. But it's still more speech-like, It's not pure head voice, so that can still give you more of a modern sound. If it sounds like close to what you would speak, that sounds more modern and more contemporary. Okay, so yeah, that's how I would answer that question. That's how I would answer that. So if the palette is raised, I think this person is asking because usually when I'm teaching classical singers, I'm telling you, you have to flatten that palette a little bit to get that whiny pharyngeal quality instead of right? You got to get that. So I'm telling you, you got to flatten that palette a little bit. But it's not to say that the palette doesn't have some raise in it, because you do have to have access to some of the top resonance when you're mixing, because a mix is a blend of chest, middle, and head resonance. So you have to have some access to that. Okay. And then this is the last question. This person said, when I use chiaro, if those of y'all classical singers, y'all should know that. But if there are non-classical singers that are watching, chiaro is just this bright forward kind of bright quality. So the person said, when I use chiaro in modern exercises like the monkey noises, I feel tired. Should I feel tired, or is it because I'm not trained in that? So when you're doing the monkey noises correctly, usually singers don't feel fatigue. Why? Because the resonator, the pharyngeal, the throat resonator is what's doing the projection. It's not the vocal cord muscles themselves. Okay, so if you're feeling tired with the monkey noises, one thing you can try is, or pay attention to, is the breath mechanism. Because remember, when we're doing mixed voice has 3 components. It is the resonance blending, which when we're trying to find mix coming from classical, we're focusing on emphasizing the pharyngeal resonator. It is also refined cord closure that we work on through vocal fry. And then it's also breath management. Sometimes the breath management part needs to be a little bit tweaked when we're working on that isolated pharyngeal in a monkey noise. So you want to make sure, excuse me, I'll demonstrate. Ooh, ooh. There is air underneath that sound. It's like I'm doing right? There's air underneath that. So you want to make sure that you are exhaling through as you are doing these pharyngeal exercises. I'll go up. Ooh, ooh, There's an exhale under there. I'm trying to emphasize it so y'all can hear it. Ooh, 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 Okay, so if you're feeling like you're getting tired, it could be that you don't have that side, that apoyo, you're not using that, you're not coordinating that with what you're doing at the vocal cord level. So check that. Other things why you might be getting tired, you might not be relying on the resonance. You might be trying to produce this sound all from the cord muscles, like pulling weight up, which that is absolutely wrong. Once you get to about C#5 or maybe even C5, it's going to break. You have to learn how to blend. So I would say the best thing is just get a coach. Message me about a session so that I can hear you live and in real time and see which of those balances need to be adjusted so you're not feeling tired. Okay, that would be my answer to that. Okay, there was a question over here. I see some. Let me go back. So somebody said, I'm so grateful for you sharing this knowledge. Had given up singing contemporary styles and have felt half as a singer, as I can't express myself the way I want to. Feeling hope again. Honey, God bless you. I am so glad that you said this, because this here is why I'm doing what I do. This is why I specifically target classical singers, opera singers. I know some of y'all contemporary singers, y'all message me, and I love y'all, and God bless y'all too. But there is a niche of singers that come from the classical music world that have basically, I ain't gonna say y'all been forgotten, but it's not too many people speaking to this niche of people. And I am this niche of people. I was this niche of people. So my business is specifically geared toward helping those singers get off of the sidelines because they only have a classical technique and they want to sing the stuff they sang when they were kids, but the voice has been changed from all this formal classical, Western classical training, and they don't know how to access the sound anymore. That's why I'm here to help those singers. So I am so glad that you messaged this, that you said you feel hope again. And if that is you, if you are an opera singer, professional, working professional opera singer, or a bel canto voice teacher, and you need access to knowledge and resources so you can stop feeling embarrassed trying to sing commercial music, so you can stop feeling like half a singer, like this young lady just said, because you don't know how to, basically, you don't know how to access like a third of your voice. That chest voice, especially for ladies, is usually shot. Like you have no access to it because you've been singing head voice dominant. And that can play with you psychologically. That can make you feel like I spent all this time and money in university for what? What was it all for? I wasted my time. I wasted my life. But no, you didn't. You can get that commercial voice sound back. And I have created a program called the Basics of Mix and Belt Accelerator program to help accelerate you to reconnect with that contemporary voice that you've always had and to help you align with your divine purpose. Because classical music in the college told you go be an opera singer. But that ain't God's plan for everybody. So what do? Do you know what I'm saying? That's why I'm here to help those singers. So if that is you, you can DM me the word belt. We can talk more in the DMs to see where you are on your journey transitioning from classical into contemporary, and wherever, if I can get in and help you on the journey, I'm more than willing. So shoot me a DM that says belt. Thank you so much for sharing this. Oh my God, cute, laugh out loud. Thank you so much for sharing that. Okay, here's a question. Hey, how are you? I got a question. Why is my jawline uncomfortable as I belt? I don't know about a jawline. It could be tension, Denzel. It could be some tension habits that you need to work out. I don't know. That's the first thing that's coming to me. So I would say you might just need to DM me so we can talk more. You can give me some more context around it. I don't know if you've had any, health things or something that will make the jaw lock or something. I don't know. So you can message me and we can talk if you'd like to. But the first thing that's coming to my mind is tension habits. Somebody, Denzel again, said, by the way, your videos helped me become a better R&B singer. I'm from Zimbabwe and I'm inspired by Joe Thomas. Okay, great. I'm so glad it helped you. Awesome. So very glad that it helped you. Any other questions, y'all? We've been on for 27 minutes. I don't usually go this long, but I wanted to just answer some of these questions that were sent in by singers so that everyone can learn and benefit. Any other questions before we hop off? Any takeaways? Any light bulb moments? Anything you want to share? I still got people on YouTube. You guys who catch the replay, feel free to drop your questions in the chat if you have them. And I don't see anything else on Instagram. So guys, that's it. DM Belt. If you're interested in the Basics of Mix and Belt Accelerator program, I'm happy to help you if I can. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.